I asked 3 friends of mine, Eric, Cameron, and Stuart, who have all been working with data on a daily basis for years, to share their journey on landing a role within the world of data and their top tips on how you could do that. They're all really bright data professionals. I've known Eric since high school, and I met Cameron and Stuart through work. But rather than me talking about them, I'll let them introduce themselves and what exactly they do.
Hi everyone, my name's Eric. I'm 28 years old and I am a data professional working in the telecommunications industry, currently based in Switzerland. My job title is a performance and analytics manager, but for simplicity's sake, I'm basically a business analyst whose job it is to gather insights on how the business is tracking and developing, and to see if we're on track to hit our various targets. What this translates to on a daily basis is quite a lot of Excel modeling. And on a more weekly and monthly basis, it involves creating various different reports where I share to management the findings and highlight any risks and opportunities.
Hello, my name's Cameron. I currently work in the banking industry and I am a reference data governance lead, and I head up a small team of kind of data analysts with the ambition to try and create a single point of global reference data for the bank. My day-to-day probably looks quite different to a traditional data analyst, but I'm using a lot of the same kind of skill sets, right? So it will be having conversations with kind of technology owners, trying to understand the system limitations, the business needs, and why a centralized store may not be necessarily super easy for them to adopt. So I'll be having conversations with them, trying to convince them this is a good idea and offer mine and my team support to be able to get them there.
My name's Stuart. I work as the head of innovation, and specifically I work in UK financial services in banking. The day-to-day in this kind of job is really, really varied. Ultimately, the job's all about solving problems and exploring new opportunities. So to do that, you have to build your understanding of the kind of cutting edge of financial technology, fintech, and associated approaches. It works a lot like being a change manager, as I typically spend a lot of my time talking to my team, various stakeholders, and getting blockers out of the way. I feel like I spend the most time thinking about what we can do or the different opportunities to deliver value and to prove concepts quickly.
To me, what stood out from the answers is that none of them are actually data analysts per se. Cameron's official job title is Reference Data Lead, Eric is a Performance and Analytics Manager, and Stuart is the Head of Innovation. They're not data analysts, but they all work with data in some way, shape, or form. This just goes to show for me that job titles, let's be honest, don't mean too much nowadays. Eric, for example, just says that he's a business analyst to keep it simple. There are so many jobs out there that involve working with data on a daily basis, and your end goal doesn't necessarily have to be becoming a data analyst, data scientist, or data engineer. It can be as simple as improving your data skills, whether it's learning new tools or understanding new concepts. Say you're a relationship manager now and you want to take your presentation skills to the next level to provide an even better service to your clients. You could learn a new visualization tool like Tableau or Power BI and create interactive and dynamic visuals and dashboards to impress your clients. Or say you're a business analyst or a financial analyst and you're already great at using Excel, but you're looking for a tool that could help you automate processes and speed up repetitive workflows. You could dive into learning Python with a specific focus on data analytics and take your data skills to the next level to give you that competitive edge. You don't have to be a data analyst to be great at working with complex datasets. My official job title now is Data and Analytics Analyst, but when I was an insights analyst or a credit portfolio manager before, I worked with lots and lots of data on a daily basis as well. The only difference was that my job title didn't specifically reflect that.
So I did not pursue a traditional data-related degree like data science, but I did go to university in the US where I did a liberal arts degree and took various different data-related courses like statistics and computer science. I landed my current role, my current job, by first completing a rotational graduate program for the company where I did 3 one-year rotations in different fields across finance throughout the organization. I believe this was a really valuable experience because I got to experience different teams and different bosses in a relatively short amount of time. I also had the advantage that all 3 of my rotations were in different countries, which was really exciting as well.
So most of my experience is probably hands-on. My degree is in maths and finance, and when I graduated, I moved to one of the big 4 audit firms. Quickly realised it weren't for me before moving over to banking. So I've had 3 roles so far. First one was clearing commission breaks for futures trades in our investment bank. Before I moved over to a data governance role, I was looking after kind of risk style data. And I also looked after the BCBS returns on behalf of the investment bank. And then more recently, looking after reference data in a central team, which is sat in kind of data management. So definitely most of what I've learned is through understanding the business and getting the hands-on experience with the data.
My undergraduate degree was in mathematics. It's quite a long time ago now. I didn't know I wanted a career in finance at the time. Eventually, and this is after a long diversion where I worked overseas in Japan, I found my way working into UK banking. I started in a credit risk function, which focuses on understanding the lending risks that banks take on. It's a very data-centric department, so it's a great place to work on data skills and develop them in a very practical context.
The big common theme here for me is that none of them actually pursued a pure data degree. Sure, they all went to university and took courses and degrees related to data, but definitely not directly focused around data. Being hands-on is really important, which is why I made a completely free data portfolio guide that you can use to build your dream data portfolio so that you can showcase this to recruiters and hiring managers to get you closer to your next data analytics role. My data portfolio guide contains 80 tips across 8 detailed stages to help you make your data portfolio stand out from the crowd. There's over 30 links to resources that you can utilize, and you would of course get lifetime access to my data portfolio guide with continuous updates. The world of data moves fast, and so will my data portfolio guide with it. I'll put the link in the description below. Make sure to check it out if you want to create a professional data portfolio. You can see from Cameron's experience that his strong domain knowledge in finance, banking, and especially investment banking certainly helped him to get to this point in his career. He himself said that most of his learning was through hands-on experience, and his ability to solve complex data problems within the financial services industry is what makes him stand out, what makes him a reference data subject matter expert. What also makes him stand out, by the way, is the fact that he's an amazing long-distance runner. His personal best marathon time at the time of filming this video was 3 hours and 1 minute, and I'm sure soon enough he'll be breaking that magical 3-hour threshold. Go follow Cameron on LinkedIn if you want to find out more about him. Eric emphasized the importance of getting onto a rotational graduate scheme, where he was able to kickstart his career, experience various teams and working environments, and live in 3 different countries. This is quite similar to how I started my career, as I got onto a risk graduate scheme for a big bank in the UK and completed 3 placements before rolling off and finding a permanent job in investment banking as a credit portfolio manager. Stuart's data career has been probably way more non-linear than all of us here combined, as he quit banking, moved to Japan, and then came back to banking and credit risk specifically. I do agree with everything he had to say about credit risk, as this is the department where I completed my rotations on the graduate scheme and also the area where I worked in investment banking. There is so much data within the credit risk world, and analyzing large and complex datasets certainly accelerated my data career. And by the way, Stuart recently launched a newsletter where he writes about AI, behavioral science, and decision making. Really interesting stuff. Make sure to follow him, you will not regret it. I'll put the link in the description below.
So my preferred data analysis tool would probably have to be Excel. I know it's a classic, but a goodie. It has some really powerful tools, and it also has the key advantage that most people are familiar with it and can navigate through it. This also makes sharing files throughout the company easy and straightforward.
I think I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit with this one, just because I think there's a hell of a lot of tools out there, and every single one of them has their own unique advantages. There's not one that's better than the other. I think it all depends on what your problem statement is. I think as a data analyst, you should be sitting down and understanding the problem statement, having a look through your toolbox and figuring out which tool is best to solve that problem, as opposed to going in there with a set direction on wanting to use one specific tool.
Honestly, I don't have a preferred data analysis tool. I love a variety. In hindsight, I spent way too long in the early stages of my career using only the immediate tools available to me and not deepening my understanding of what else was out there. Today, I love modern visualization tools for their sort of clicky interfaces and how easy and user-friendly they are. But I also love the sort of sheer power when I see people blast through large data sets with machine learning algorithms to mine for insights. So I think my answer to that question is I like a range.
I loved all three answers here because they all resonate with me. Cameron and Stuart don't actually have favorite data analysis tools, and I must say I probably don't either. Tools are just tools at the end of the day. They provide a means to an end. They simply give me the ability to implement solutions that solve business-critical problems. Technical proficiency is key, not because you need to be the best at Excel or create the most interactive dashboards in Tableau or write the most optimized code in Python, but because rather than focusing on questions like, can I do this in Excel or Tableau or Python? Once you master those technical skills, you can focus on questions like, how do I solve this complex data problem? What solutions do I need to build? What processes do I need to implement? Now, if you want to learn all of the essential technical skills and the most crucial soft skills and domain knowledge to enhance your data analysis workflow, then look no further than my ultimate data roadmap. I created this roadmap with a specific focus on learning data analysis skills and knowledge that you can actually apply in real-life settings. It comes with a lifetime access with continuous updates. We all know the world of data moves fast, and so will my ultimate data roadmap with it. If you want to eliminate the endless loop of researching and never ask yourself questions like, what data tools should I learn? How do I master all of the valuable technical skills? How do I learn and apply the most crucial soft skills that can accelerate my career growth? Then check out my ultimate data roadmap link in the description below. I also couldn't agree more with Eric because I do like Excel a lot. People 10 years ago said that it'd be gone by now, but it is still going very strong. It is by far the most popular analytical tool in large organizations because it's easy to use and accessible. The barrier to entry to learning Excel is low, which enables and encourages people to work with data. Excel is such a powerful tool, and most people don't even get near the full capabilities of it. Eric, by the way, is a super outdoorsy person. The footage you're seeing right now is him casually hiking in the mountains. If you want to find out more about him, make sure to check out his website, which revolves around most of his hobbies like hiking, cycling, photography, and video making.
I believe one of my greatest professional assets is being positive and contributing to a good spirit in my team. I like when my team gets along, so I think that's a useful asset to have.
Okay, my greatest asset. I think it's the ability to translate what can be seen as a difficult problem statement into something relatable. So what I mean by that, right, is you may get a multi-layered kind of problem statement, which is pretty tricky to get your head around. And then the task is to do some form of analysis on it and then summarize back to a senior leader. that senior leader may not necessarily want to know all the levels of granularity that you've been through to be able to get to the answer. What he needs to know is what you did to get there and what the solution is. And I think that's really key in a data analyst skill set.
I'm naturally curious about everything, and I think that's my strength. I really enjoy learning about new things. This means I spend a lot of time briefing and helping other people understand things, so over time I've got better at that too. I also think I'm genuinely enthusiastic about what I do. I get good feedback on that a lot, and I think that helps in working with others to, care ultimately about what you work on.
Did you notice that none of them mention, not even for a second, a super technical or analytical skill? They all highlighted soft skills like simplifying things, understanding complex problems, and translating them into simple and actionable insights and next steps, natural curiosity, continuous learning, or just being positive. When you're at work, it is highly unlikely that you'll be remembered because you wrote an amazing function in Excel or wrote a super optimized SQL query. The likely things people will remember about you will be whether or not you can solve business problems, whether you're easy to work with, whether you're a good leader or team member, whether you're a clear communicator. Technical skills will give you credibility and the ability to build solutions, but it is the identification of which complex data problems are most pressing to solve. The ability to connect these complex data problems to business problems and benefits, simplifying things and providing meaningful, actionable insights. It's these things that will make you stand out from the crowd and succeed in the long run. This is exactly why I have a whole module dedicated to soft skills in my ultimate data roadmap that I mentioned before.
So some tips I have for someone who's pursuing a career that involves working with data is to be quite critical with data and to realize that context matters and to not underestimate the power of storytelling. I think it's very important to be critical with data because it can be quite easy to turn numbers into something that fits your narrative. Hence, it's very important to be as truthful with the data that you have and to be honest with the limitations of your model, for example. Many times we want black and white answers, but we have to realize and remind ourselves that the world is quite gray and complex.
I think I've got 2 tips. So number 1 is be curious. The world of data moves so quickly that whatever the current technology is today won't be the same technology in 5 years' time, right? So you've got to have a really big learning mind and being curious to find out what's happening in the future, right? And then number 2 is focusing on any communications and relationships that you build, right? I think you can be the best person in terms of skill sets, but where the success comes is being able to communicate to people and build on them working relationships, right? So really focusing on what that problem statement is and how you're going to solve it in a relatable way to the stakeholder.
I have 3 tips. First one is to stay close to the problem you're trying to solve. Make sure you understand the purpose of your work at all times. It'll just help you with thinking about different approaches to solve that particular problem. Second tip is to continuously invest in yourself, both your hard data skills, but also the softer skills you need to communicate and ensure your work is well understood. And my last tip is remember that you're going to be better at data than lots of people in the rest of the organization you work in. So work hard to keep your output simple, user-friendly, and to avoid technical language where there's a simpler explanation possible.
And there you have it. Top tips from people who have been there, done it, and are continuously doing it. I loved how Eric focused on critical thinking and understanding the context around the data you're working with. I've said this numerous times before, domain knowledge matters. Sure, data is data no matter which industry you work in, but having a deep knowledge of the domain gives you a completely different perspective on how to analyze that data. For example, I remember from my credit portfolio management days that more experienced credit portfolio managers in my team, like the VPs and the managing directors, they knew instantly if a number or a set of numbers looked off, before I even had the chance to investigate if it was a systems update issue or a manual keying error. They had the experience and the context to know that it was just not correct. I also completely agree with Cameron's point on continuous learning and being curious. The world of data really does move fast, and the only way to not stay behind is to continuously learn something new. I'm pretty confident that the tools and technologies we use for data analysis today will not be the tools and technologies we use for data analysis in 5 to 10 years' time, so please do take the time to learn new skills. He also mentioned making the problem statement relevant and relatable to the stakeholders, which again is another point I emphasize time and time again. No matter what data task you're doing, think about why you're doing it, who your stakeholders are, and what they actually want from the end result. And that's all for now from Eric, Cameron, Stuart, and myself. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to check out some of my other videos right here. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to watch this, and I shall see you in the next one.